Sportskeeda now. What's up, everybody? Rings and Rambles quite late. How late? Too late. Well, what's going on? I'm Kev Kellum here in Chicago, coming to you from the studios of Q101, Chicago's #1 alternative rock radio station in NBC Tower. All right, now over there in Sacktown, Sacramento, California, Mr. Nick Harkson. So much to get into today. We'll be talking about a foreign.
Hey, Mike, Kevin, your microphone cut completely out. Just letting you know.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
I can't hear you. Keep going, buddy. I'm going to reboot.
All right, I can hear you. But you can't hear me. Ozzy, yes, we are late. Kevin is going to reboot. I can hear him, and now I am in two separate boxes there. So I'm going to try and run this thing all by myself until Kevin comes back. But we got a lot of big news coming out of the wrestling world. Let me know what you guys think about some stars being inactive on that roster right now, on the internal roster. But Kevin's coming back. He's back.
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me, Kevin?
I can. Can you hear me? But
I can hear you now. So we're
all
good.
Right, I gotta love StreamYard, where if it just blips a little bit, you have to reboot everything, even when you're live. So it's nice that I have to use Radio Shack technology to be to be on the air. Yeah. So we're jumping in here. I love hearing from regular people here. Interact with us. Get your comments on screen. Hit the like button so we know you're enjoying it. If you're on Facebook, all that good stuff, share the link as well. Want to hear from you guys about the news here today that's been developing, especially over the last couple of hours, about three significant names, three veteran names of WWE who seemingly are on their way out of the company. Now, it doesn't seem like it's the nastiest split. I know MVP has alluded to some things being outspoken. He's on the list, MVP. He is somebody who's reportedly going to have his contract not renewed. He has not been active in the ring. Reported there was some talk of him getting his surgery done. He had been managing the Giant Omos for quite some time. So you had him. He's not been in the ring and active for quite a while. Yeah. And then you look at the situation here with Tamina. She's not been active or wrestled in the ring for nearly a year, but was widely considered a locker room veteran and a beloved mother to a lot of different people. Of course, she's a part of the Anawahi wrestling family through The Rock and many others. So I'm, long time with the company too. She's been with the company since about 07, 08. Long time there.
Yep.
But the big name here, the biggest of the three names, is going to be somebody who, surprisingly, has not been that active at WWE in the past couple months.
Yeah.
Got to do a small thing, WrestleMania, kind of be around it. Was not a big part of the previous year's WrestleMania in Los Angeles when he was a big name. He was supposed to do something with Bray Wyatt. Right. And that didn't happen for obvious reasons. So he was red hot in the pandemic, Bobby Lashley, the almighty. And the Hurt Business stuff was on and off. But now, apparently, he got offered some type of deal, didn't like the deal, and is not going to stay with the company. And he's expected to have his contract expire relatively soon.
Yeah, it's crazy. Bobby Lashley was just in, he was a huge picture in WWE, one of the top players, if you ask me. And,
but I mean, the fall off with him is pretty severe in the shakeup.
It definitely is. It was noticeable. You're like, where's Bobby Lashley? Why isn't he doing more?
So big for them in the pandemic.
Yeah,
so big.
Huge. And but business is business, and it's Hurt Business apparently right now, and it's not working out with WWE. We'll see what happens after this. I don't know. It's gonna be he's still gonna get a good deal. If he wants to wrestle still, he's gonna go somewhere. He's gonna be fine. People are going to follow Bobby Lashley.
Guy who's in his late 40s, but looks like an Adonis. He's a guy who's basically never drank.
He could be done.
He's kind of talked about that. We've interviewed him a handful of times. He's such a different attitude. A different attitude in terms of his approach and his sense of how. I wonder if he fights again. I wonder if he does any MMA fights, because he did that. I mean, that was another thing, is maybe he wanted an MMA fight.
Could be.
And you have TKO is under the board. Like, who are those people that are going to sign those dual deals? Someone's going to get one of those, where, hey, you get one or two big fights here, and maybe that's the route you go. So it's kind of a weird scenario that UFC and AEW, WWE under the same banner.
Yeah.
Potentially do that here. Frank Castle, going to jump in here. He says, MVP is past his prime. Tamina has not been enveloped in the bloodline. A nepotistic storyline is crazy. You think she should be part of it, because they're just dragging everyone into that crap emoji. You saying the storyline's a crap emoji? Well, then why are so many people involved in it if it's such a crap? I would say it's not a crappy story. It's pretty compelling. Lashley, I think you mean, will be fine and has a few years left and will do well somewhere else. That's the point. It's interesting how this plays out here. People saying he's leaving WWE again. Well, he did leave WWE before. And went and did TNA and Strikeforce MMA at one point, and then he just did strictly TNA for a run as well. He was a world champion there. I wonder, but WWE has this kind of official, unofficial working relationship with TNA. Right. So it'll be interesting. I mean, if he goes the All Elite Wrestling route, it's worth looking at. It's worth looking at. And in terms of what AEW needs, and they need names that are noticeable and they're on television. But do they have a slot for a guy like him that makes it worthy of him jumping over there?
I don't know. I mean, they have a lot of talent. We've talked about this before. Yeah. I don't think that talent is the issue.
It's pacing. How do you present him?
Yeah.
Making other TV shows besides Dynamite meaningful.
Yeah. I mean, he could work over there for a little bit, but can he last? Are they going to keep a compelling storyline for him to be, that big time guy for a long time in the company, or at least be worth the money that they would have to pay him to bring him over? I'm not sure. I wouldn't mind seeing Bobby Lashley back in TNA. It'd be a very cool scene. I think that he would definitely be put into the championship. He'd be in that picture right away. It'd be no question in my mind.
We will cover some TNA news. They have their biggest show in years recently this past weekend in Montreal.
Yep.
Sold out 4,000. Big night for them. Title change as well. We'll talk about that. John Roser staying on the Bobby Lashley topic. Obviously, reportedly, if you're just joining us, he's expected to leave WWE here.
Yeah.
Former WWE World Champion. If Bobby Lashley does go to AEW, All Elite Wrestling, do you think they would debut him at All In or an episode of Dynamite? Would they treat it like a big deal? What about All Out? All Out's going to be in Chicago. Maybe that's just me asking for something cool. That will be, I believe, September 6th.
Yeah.
And All In, the stadium show they do in London, that's kind of the pattern they're going to do, is going to be right near the end of August. So there's about like a 2-week gap between the two of them. So they have like 2 weeks of television to be able to cover the difference there. Other people calling for someone else to lose their job. Really, Johnny, you're out of your mind. Yeah. Asking for someone to lose their job is silly. Do you want to lose your job? Would you want someone to go online and tell you need to lose your job? It's one thing if you don't find the person entertaining. It's another thing to say, take this other person with you because you think you don't like them. Like, that's unregulated fandom that I don't think people understand the gravity of. Here, I'll ask this. Do you think it's racially motivated in WWE still? Or do I think these cuts are racially motivated? No. And I'm going to say I don't know why. Specifically Bobby Lashley, Tamina, and MVP are not being there. I can see on the surface where some people would say, "Oh, you're doing this. These are not non-Caucasian talent, veteran talent." I think is the bigger issue here.
Yeah,
you have people that have wrestled a good long time. What else are we going to do with them? Is it more time for us to focus on younger talent and not focus so much on people that are north of 40?
Yeah,
I'm around that realm where I have to ask myself that, like, even if I'm talented, is the investment in me or is the investment in somebody that you have more time to work with here? Not to say that Bobby Lashley, Tamina, and MVP are not warranted of the success they have to stay active, but the wrestling business is flexible in a lot of different ways for a lot of different people at different points in their life.
Yeah, and it's changing too. I mean, there is the young.
I think age is much more a factor in this.
Yeah. The young talent that they're bringing in now are top tier athletes. I mean, they're going to recruit some Division I, talent out of college who were very successful in college as well. And I think that there's guys in NXT who are going to be coming up very soon, like a Trick Williams. There's a lot, but there's not a lot of space for an MVP or Bobby Lashley or Tamina anymore with such great young talent ready to come up to the main roster as well.
And also it's a bottom heavy thing, so if you're bottom heavy and you start moving people up, that moves people out. That's just the natural order of things.
Yeah.
When you start to look at like roster depth, somebody you love on the team, if they're not being utilized, you just want them on the team. That's just it's not, it feels like I'm using a cop-out phrase. It's not personal, it's business. It is.
Yeah.
It is. And if you're going to keep Bobby Lashley on roster, yeah, you're going to pay him a lot of money. You know?
Yeah, you're going to
So what are you doing with it? You know? And they were not, this Street Profits group really didn't pick off. And it didn't move the needle. It wasn't the new Hurt Business. It didn't get a name, you know? So it'll be interesting here. So let's get into this here. I said take her to AEW. Johnny wants Tamina and AEW would be an interesting pickup.
Oh, he was talking about taking Naomi to AEW.
Naomi did that. Yeah, that would be interesting as well. But I mean, Tamina and another wrestling company would be interesting. People have really only seen her in WWE.
Yeah, true.
She wrestled a little bit before WWE and had the family pedigree, so she knew the business. She was raised around it, so it's a little bit different. You have that advantage there. Let's get into this. Sorry about the grammatical error. Yes, the storyline acknowledge me seems to be dragging on and on and on. There are plenty of other wrestlers. That is a great point of view. He may not be a long-term main eventer, but Lashley has maybe one more good run. Just not a good story. Oh, yeah, true. See, like I said, it's an age point here. Stacy, what's up? Big Stacy, how you doing? He goes, I wish they would have done more with Bobby and Tamina both. She has always been one of my favorites. And Tamina only got to have like a women's tag team title. She was with the company for like 15, 16 years.
Yeah, and
so, you know.
She's got a strong presence too. Like they could have done more with her, I feel like. I don't know.
And then people saying maybe Tamina can hit up the indies. Yeah, the indies are not quiet, guys. People say, oh, you go to the indies. Look at you gotta go work at the indies. Do you know what you get hit? Your hits are on the indies when you do well coming off WWE. Come on. You work a little less, you know? Yeah. And to say you cannot be successful, look at Matt Cardona.
Yeah.
Look at that guy. Made more money outside of WWE than he did in it at one point. Probably still is. And you can figure out how to do things there. So I love hearing this here. Here we go. Johan Penna. Usually when we hear this type of news, that a person usually leaves, but in this case, I hope they can come to an agreement and he can stay.
It could happen, maybe. He's still got time left on the contract. I mean, it's not it's not like he's got a death sentence and he's automatically out. Maybe they can work something out. Maybe they're going to be like, hey, Bobby, we really value you. We hear all the rumors. Let's bring you back. You know, we weren't thinking clearly the first time with that first offer. Here's a little
Jim Thumb saying maybe Lashley can go back to Impact. I think maybe there's a conflict there. So yeah, there's a possibility here. Katash referencing this here. Katash, it looks like you're a stand-up comedian. Send me your stand-up stuff, buddy. I'd love to hear from that. I'm doing that myself. I was quite busy this weekend. He says they don't use Lashley well. Sometimes it seems race-related. He should have been a Black Lesnar, in my opinion. I will say this: the matches with Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley, I was super excited for them, and each time they did them, it was more of just a transitional angle to another thing. Like it wasn't like a big Clash of Titans that you wanted. You know,
could have been.
Yeah, like they had that match at Royal Rumble. I was there for it live, maybe 2021. The first Royal Rumble, they opened up things, you know, coming out of the pandemic. And WWE, I think, was still doing some Thunderdome stuff here and there. Like, so there was a lot of passion, and then they were going to give you this big match, Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley. Felt like a big deal for the title. It was more or less used as an angle to get to something at the end of the night, which in the long run made sense. But in the short run, you're like, I still wanted a Lashley Lesnar match. I know they did one more, but it never felt like, why can't these guys have the big false finish, go to war? You know, all the hoopla type stuff. But they wanted Lesnar to be tied to Roman Reigns for so long, you know? So as part of it. And Lashley this guy won the WWE Championship. He did. Beat Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania, you know?
Yeah. It's
not like they didn't do a lot with him, you know? They did, but when he was hot, he was hot. When he was cold, you know? Definitely.
But I get what he's saying.
He should have remained a bigger deal.
He should have. I mean, he was a dominant force in the MMA world, so he should have remained that way in WWE. Always been a top player. I see where he's coming.
I remember going into WrestleMania 39. It was like, what a weird healthy scratch, right? Because he was red hot there, and then it's just gotten less and less and less. You know, so I mean, if he doesn't want to stay and they're going to pay him less, you know, I get it. Go somewhere else. hey, maybe I get to end my career with you guys. Relatively healthy guy for his size too.
Yeah.
From what you can tell, I don't know. The bump card's real though. The bump card is still real.
Well,
in your late 40s.
But look at Finn Balor. I mean, he just signed a multi-year deal, and he's in his 40s. That
True,
guy is.
but also maybe he's comfortable with playing a supporting role.
Probably, yeah. I see.
Maybe he's comfortable with that.
Yeah, definitely.
And other people saying Tamina could go to New Japan. Yeah, definitely could be interesting here. One of these here. If you had to pick up, the Benjamin Kimball, I'm really surprised how long we've gone with this Bobby Lashley issue. I thought we were going to move on to the next thing, but I don't want to leave it standing. We're going to talk AEW's TV contract here in a minute, and some title changes in wrestling, and we'll also talk about a fun little game, the game in the wrestling world. Benjamin Kimbrell. There we go. I finally got it right. If you had to pick, where do you want Bobby Lashley to end up? I think him in All Elite Wrestling would be interesting, but as we mentioned, I just don't know what real estate they have on TV for him right now.
Yeah.
I will say this. Bobby Lashley in New Japan would be really exciting. Bobby Lashley in New Japan would be a very, very unique prospect for him. New Japan has featured some very prominent American names. Brock Lesnar had a very odd time there. I did a video about him and his time away from WWE. Kurt Angle, Hulk Hogan in the 80s. They've been able to. Kenny Omega, obviously, one of the biggest guys they've ever had. So I think Bobby Lashley going there and kind of proving, with a handful of matches, not a ton, but a handful of matches, special attraction from America. Here's Bobby Lashley, the Almighty, and you put him in there with some hard-hitting guys, and he proves he can still go and still be something special and still be an attraction, and then boom, back in WWE for like another short run, and that's it. Another thing with the WWE TKO deal is the word is not everyone's going to get 5-year deals. Some people get 2 or 3. All right, we think we can do this business with you now, and you've heard that about the Hardys. They're banged up, a lot of injuries, a lot of problems, but they would like to end their career on a positive note in a big stage. And I think some fans want to see that too. Now, that also means you got to do what the Dudley Boys did about 10 years ago and go back to WWE and lay out for a couple people and get some new people over. And nothing wrong with that. That's giving back to the business.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you. I think Bobby Lashley in New Japan would be amazing. I think that would be a huge attraction for New Japan. But I did say earlier, I would like to see him back in TNA as well. I think that.
Oh yeah, because he was the world champion. There was a big deal there.
Definitely. So going back there,
and you could do that. You could do New Japan and do the independents. This is Johnny Gadner asking, "Do you think Bobby Lashley could work the indies?" He's done a handful of independent appearances, but never like a full-fledged independent tour. He was a guy who was plucked out of the military sports world and was an Adonis head turning guy. And took on wrestling under WWE, and they made him a big star, and I think there's something you could do with him there. He's like, do you think Bobby could work in the indies? Yes.
100%.
Yes. And be a real attraction too.
Definitely.
And also a guy who owns his name. That's his real name. Yeah. So I know people are talking about the whole name game thing. Our show is supported by BrainBuster, the #1 trivia game, I believe, in all of wrestling. Do you want to try and play some BrainBuster right now?
We can try and play some BrainBuster.
I'm gonna do the share screen deal here.
Okay.
And we're gonna pull this up. We're gonna play today's BrainBuster here.
Oh,
get this off the screen. We're not brought to you by Porsche.
Wow.
But here's how this works. BrainBuster, you go to sportskeeda.com. It is up on the main page there. And I'm going to take the overlay off. And how this works is you go to sportskeeda.com. You see the little blue dot up in the corner on the main tab there. And you can play every single day. Think of it like your little quiz for the day. It keeps your wrestling brain sharp. All right. And you get 8 guesses that go across several different categories. By the time you get to the 5th guess, you get a clue. What's the shortest you'd be able to get this without having to get the clue? You said you got 3 out of 8.
I got 3. I was very lucky, but I got 3.
Okay. Let me put the mic down here. You can still hear me correctly, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So we're going to type this out.
We got
all right. So let's just type in a name and see who we get here. If I can get the screen to work with me here. Enter a random wrestler's name. Is it not working? I gotta love technology. You said you did this in 8 was the easiest one. What's the toughest one you had?
So the easiest one I did was in 3. The toughest one got to like 7. I was there on my.
All right, here we go.
I was getting nervous.
So like, what's the first name of a wrestler we should type in? Let's any name. Want to try?
Any name?
We just talked about Bobby Lashley. Let's do Bobby Lashley.
Let's do Bobby Lashley. Yep.
So Bobby Lashley name pops up right there. Okay, so now the person, as you can see here, is Bobby Lashley. We typed him in. You see, green is kind of go more with this. Go where the green is. All right, so we're looking at he's a Hall of Famer. No, not a Hall of Famer. Male wrestler, under 6'3", and 7 WrestleManias. So it's someone who's only done 7 WrestleManias. That's the key there. All right, and below the age of 48. So interesting. It's a very, very select group there. Interesting here. I'm going to say, let's say, The Miz.
The Miz.
He's done more than 7 WrestleManias.
I think he's done more than that.
Oh man,
that's so hard.
Who's been on a WrestleMania? Maybe let's try a Seth Rollins.
I was going to go with that.
Ooh, okay. So we're closer here. I want to see how this is playing out here on the screen. I'm looking good for you on your end. All right, so we're getting fairly close here. I want to know what they're saying in the chat. Who do you guys think it is here? People saying it's Booker T. Ozzy saying it's Booker T. All right. So we're playing BrainBuster right now at Sportskeeda.com. So the person is indeed on Monday Night Raw. No, they're not in the Hall of Fame. Yes, they're a male wrestler.
They're above the age of 38, but below the age of 48.
So someone in their 40s, right?
Yep.
So what are you thinking here, bud? You think? Ooh, I think you want to say Finn Balor?
Yeah, that's what I was going to go with.
Finn Balor's in that age range, right?
Finn Balor, yep.
All right, let's see if we get it. Finn Balor.
It is.
Is it no. All right, so we're in the third one. We're at the third one here. All right. So north of 4 WrestleManias, 7 WrestleManias. So maybe he hasn't been at 7 WrestleManias. We got to think of someone who's been in 7 WrestleManias. Okay. And they're between 6 foot and 6'3". That's another one here. Okay, it is a male wrestler, by the way, if you're just joining us. So who else should we put in? That's a very specific range.
That's so specific.
It's not LA Knight. He's around 40, right? But he's not. He hasn't been at that many WrestleManias. Well, AJ Styles. Want to try
AJ Styles? Is he above?
Oh, he's not. He's a SmackDown guy. He's a SmackDown guy.
SmackDown.
No, he can't do him. Raw. So who's on Raw that's around that age?
Oh my goodness!
If you're in the chat, play along, dude. Play along. Let us know. We're doing this together. Cody Rhodes. Could it be Cody Rhodes?
Is he above?
Could it be Ray? No, Ray's north of 40, isn't he?
And he's shorter than
Yeah, he's much shorter than that.
Yeah.
It could be the Miz. We already said Miz has been on more WrestleManias than that. Let's try Cody Rhodes. Let's see if ZZ is saying Cody Rhodes. So let's try Cody Rhodes.
He's SmackDown though right now.
He's SmackDown. So we got to have somebody on Raw.
Yeah.
Would it be Drew McIntyre?
Yes, try Drew. Well, is he taller than 6'3"?
Yeah, he is.
Oh man,
he's definitely taller than 6'3". Let's just try it. Let's try Miz. Let's try it. Maybe now we get the clue here. Okay? See. Yeah, see. All right, now we're at 4. Now, by the time you get to the 5th one, you can get the clue. Okay,
they're above 39 now too. So we got
above 39. The names we're looking at. Okay, so what are you thinking? Who's the name we could get to right there in that window? It's not Finn Balor. The Miz has been at more WrestleManias than 7.
CM Punk's also been CM Punk.
Did we get it? Yeah, dude.
CM Punk.
Hot tag right there, dude. Hot tag, dude. All right, so that is the person who is this. Oh, look at my score here. We're a pretty good score right there. You know,
right?
Yeah. We'll have another game up for tomorrow. And my Kurt wins streak is okay. I gotta beef that up. 86% though is my winning percentage. Nice. 7 games played. I gotta pick this up. I gotta play more. So you can play Sportskeeda BrainBuster. It's pretty fun game. Did you guys enjoy the game? Let us know what you think in the chat. You can play it right now at Sportskeeda.com every single day. A new game to play. So that's pretty sweet. I love that. They did such a good job with it. And there's so much cross-reference research you have to do. Sorry, I have the wrong thing here. I'll pull this back up here in the correct one. There we go. So let's get back into it here. Another big wrestling story that came up since you and I talked is about AEW. And I always want to talk the media sports game with you.
Mm-hmm.
And this one has been really interesting, one that's been coming for quite some time. And this comes from BJ Bethel. He's a reporter. He's worked for several different publications, very reliable source. BJ tweeting out over the weekend on Friday, kind of a few hours before AEW Rampage and WWE SmackDown. Sources: WWE has an agreement in principle with Warner Brothers Discovery for a new TV deal. WBD's exclusive negotiation window was set to expire this coming weekend. No word on when it will be official. Now, it is worth noting that the expectation, obviously, is that a lot of things changing for Warner Brothers Discovery with them losing NBA television or NBA sports on their platforms. Their cable channels in the United States include TBS, TNT, where AEW's been since they started in 2019. They did get a contract extension. This is not the only deal that AEW's been in, and they got that contract right before the pandemic, so a good time to get that deal, all right? So obviously with the kind of a little bit of a softening of the edge of the numbers that AEW has had, they've been teetering around, mid-million numbers, around there. But recently, some numbers have gone up. They're going to do well overseas. They have some overseas contracts, but obviously the big media market you want to play is here. These are the big deals. These are the biggest money-making things that a wrestling company can do. What do you think here of this deal? And it seems got to be a little bit of a relief for a lot of people who follow the wrestling industry. I know a lot of people are just booing. No, I don't like AEW because I want to fight with somebody on the internet. But I mean, if you're an AEW fan, this is good news.
Definitely good news. Good news for Warner Brothers too, with NBA leaving. I think it's a mutual thing that's great.
We're not saying this is bigger than NBA, by the way. So
no, it's not bigger than NBA, but at the same time, this is great for wrestling fans who are fans of AEW, especially. I'm glad that they're going to stay on TV. They got something done. They're going to stay on the same network, so you're not going to have to go and search for Dynamite or Rampage or anything like that on elsewhere. They got the deal done with the people they've already been working with. They're good to go. I like it. And like I said, good move on both parties.
Well, here's where it gets even more interesting is Warner Brothers Discovery also owns one of the biggest streaming services, direct to, like a Netflix or something like that. They own Max. It's not as big as Netflix. WWE is going to be on Netflix with Monday at Raw, and then they're going to still have their shows on Peacock, NBC's streaming service, the premium live event. So a lot of people I know have been clamoring for AEW to get on streaming, and Tony Khan has been kind of coy about that. But there's been reports that that's a big part of what he wanted in this deal is to get All Elite Wrestling on Max. Now, they've been on there with a reality show a little bit, didn't move the needle, but the thing that would move the needle is live pay-per-view events on a streaming service. Next day streaming for AEW Dynamite. Doing something that WWE is not doing by doing next day streaming, almost like Hulu, like WWE had with Hulu. And I believe they still have some shows on Hulu. But the next day streaming for the people who are cord cutters, what is that for AEW? It's kind of non-existent. If you want to get a pay-per-view from them, you got to pay a pay-per-view price. A lot of wrestling fans have made the leap with WWE for the most part for the last better part of 10 years now to a streaming service. You pay that flat rate. You're getting your pay-per-views. And there's many fans that you and I talk to that don't watch Raw or SmackDown. They keep up with it through YouTube. And then what do? Watch the premium events. So that kind of pattern has been developed, and that is a hardcore fan pattern. That's not just a casual fan pattern. So if AEW can kind of get a piece of that action, it's interesting, though, because it looks like AEW and Warner Brothers are close to announcing a deal. Several fans have pointed out on the Max streaming service, uploads of Dynamite, Collision, and several previous AEW pay-per-views have been available on Max outside of the United States. Now, would this mean that is happening inside the United States? There's screenshots of this out, like a big chunk of the catalog look like it's up there. So that's a huge deal.
It is a huge deal.
That's to me, that would be the biggest thing. They would reach so many more people in that way, and the numbers would be so much more. The grasp of it would be so much more tangible. I'm ranting. I'm sorry.
No, I completely agree with you. Sometimes I can't catch Raw or SmackDown. And right now I don't have a cable service. I rely strictly on streaming. So
Mhm.
I will go the next day and I'll find it on Hulu, or I'll find it, Peacock will show it later. But I think that is a necessary move that AEW has to make in the near future. I know, like you said, it's elsewhere. It's outside of the US. I would love it for it to be available here. I'm just a guy who's busy. I got a lot of things on my plate. I
Mhm.
like to watch things after they've already aired sometimes.
When it's convenient.
Yeah, when it's convenient. So AEW, if they could get that would be huge for a lot of people like myself, like you. I know that you also have a very busy schedule. And yeah, it would just be, they would get more eyes on it. Definitely. It'd be more convenient for people to watch. And that is where they need to go if they want to stay competing, or, with WWE. I'm not saying that they're up on that level, but they're definitely the next one to WWE. And if they want to stay in that tier, you need to get a streaming service.
You need to have something on it.
Yep.
If it isn't, mind you, this is just in France. Maybe they don't have a good TV presence in France. And I unplugged my mic again. I'm gonna have to do this. Gotta love it.
I can hear you though.
Going, buddy. I'm sorry.
You're good.
Oh, okay. You can hear me. My headphones are out. That's even better.
All right. Well, I will keep this going.
Holding my mic like an idiot.
You're fine. We got some questions over here. I'm not sure if I can do the clicking.
Okay. All right. What do you got? Let's pull up some questions here.
Let's see here.
Johnny says, I stopped watching WWE contents. I hear all WWE contents is coming to Netflix. I don't know what will be here in the US. Okay, I can clarify that.
Yeah.
I can clarify that. So there is a little bit of confusion for this. Everywhere outside of the United States is where you're going to get WWE content. You're going to get Netflix. WWE outside of the United States, Netflix is going to be your go-to portal for all of it.
Everything.
For the most part. There are some slight exceptions, but almost everywhere. Canada, for example, they have it as an over-the-air channel, but in January, it's boom. All of it's on Netflix. Raw, SmackDown, everything. Now, in the United States, SmackDown will make the move a few months early in October to USA Network, where Monday Night Raw has been since a short of 5 years, since 1993. And you will have next day streaming on Hulu for Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. That'll continue for at least a little while. Premium streaming events from WWE like WrestleMania, everything else, that'll remain on Peacock, where they've been for the past couple of years, through 2026. Outside of the United States, it'll all be on Netflix. The expectation is everything will be on Netflix. Monday Night Raw will be live on Netflix every Monday, on whatever tier you get it on. Every Monday, same time, same appointment, starting in January 2025. So just to clarify all that, I know sometimes it's kind of confusing to keep up with. It's like the NFL TV rights on. They're all like splintered all over the place, but it's how WWE makes a lot of money.
Yes.
When is SmackDown moving to the USA Network? That's going to be in October. They moved that up. There was a chance that they were going to put Fox, like, hey, we're getting out of the wrestling business. We're going to move this over. Interesting story with Fox.
Yes.
They own Tubi. And this is a streaming. This is a free streaming service. You don't pay a subscription fee to this.
Yeah.
And you know about this MLW deal, right?
Yes. This is wild.
Very wild.
Yeah.
So several years ago, when WWE got this deal with Fox, they really wanted to push it. And they got paid a lot of money. It was the first $1 billion contract in wrestling ever. And they got a lot of money. And at the time, WWE also was hoping to do more with Fox and spread their wings. And they have this free streaming service called Tubi. It is free, but it's very, very ad supported.
Yeah.
And there's it's a different catch-all selection of things, but first run programming on it is something like, all right, well, what can't get a TV contract, but can get an audience, and MLW, Major League Wrestling, wanted to get a deal. Apparently it was going to be close to one, and WWE reportedly stepped in the way, made sure that wasn't a thing. And so there was a lawsuit. A settlement was reached out of court that was reportedly around the neighborhood of $20 million.
Oh yeah.
Whew. That's not a cheap amount of money. I know, but $1 billion TV contracts, well, who cares? $20 million, right? Yeah, but guys, it's significant. All right. And WWE doesn't lose. WWE really wants to win in court. All right. So that was interesting. So it's certainly interesting how that'll play around here. SmackDown moving to USA Network September. Yeah, because apparently WWE was going to be basically booted from Friday nights on Fox to FS1 and for the remainder of their deal. It's not going to happen. I think they're going to move a little bit earlier. So there will be a window here in the fall where you'll get SmackDown and Raw on USA Network. So until January when there's a change. So that transition won't be as difficult as I think people will think it out to be.
No.
But I think a lot more bigger storylines are going to shift over to Monday Night Raw.
Oh yeah,
starting near the end of the year. So Benjamin wanting to know about this. What are your thoughts on the TNA pay-per-view this past weekend? I was on the road doing stand-up comedy in Wasaki, Wisconsin. I did not get to see it, but I heard about the results. Congratulations to Nick Nemeth. Dolph Ziggler, the former Dolph Ziggler, he's the new TNA World Champion. Good on him.
Yeah,
big sellout crowd, 4,000 people in Montreal.
Crazy,
incredible. Good for them, man. It's awesome, awesome
good
stuff. So I also want to make sure I'm covering everything here. We do have to talk about this before we sign off today.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
CM Punk. CM Punk is going to be on Monday Night Raw. We still don't know if he's going to wrestle at SummerSlam. There's been this expectation,
right,
that he's going to wrestle Drew McIntyre. Now, this is a guy who's wrestled 2 matches for WWE since he signed with them in November. 2.
Royal Rumble.
He wrestled 1 Madison Square Garden, maybe 2 or 3. He wrestled 2 live event matches, but 1 televised appearance at the Royal Rumble in January. And in that match, blew out his tricep in his return match. Awful timing. But he's been very active with WWE ever since. It's not like this guy doesn't want to be there.
No.
Again, no. This is a different CM Punk in his 40s, different guy, getting the bag, proving that he wants to be there. Different WWE, dealing with Triple H. I'm happier. Let's go. And he's been really moving the needle here with Drew McIntyre. And they have a hot storyline for 2 guys. At one point, they were not active in and out of the ring since then. They've only done Drew's wrestling more, obviously, than him. But still, like, wow. There's so much more interest in this than I think people really think when they think there's no official match,
I'm very intrigued with this storyline. I hope that it happens at SummerSlam, but even if it doesn't, I'm still going to pay attention to what's going on. I think they've
screwed each other a couple times.
Yeah.
Punk screwed him out of the title more than once. The Money in the Bank cash in, something on Raw.
I think it's happening here. I think it's happening at SummerSlam. I think it's going to happen.
Match at SummerSlam. Do you think they tease it all the way up to SummerSlam and not make it official?
I could see him making it official tonight.
True.
I could see him calling him out tonight.
How close are we to SummerSlam?
We're close.
It's
the August 3rd.
It's August 3rd. I was gonna go, but then Lollapalooza is the same weekend in Chicago, so I'm gonna be at that. And I think I'm gonna do Lollapalooza and then zip back over to the studio. I'm not even gonna go home. I'm gonna come right back here and watch it.
Nice.
The studio's downtown. Lollapalooza is like a mile away, so getting out of there is a nightmare. Not a nightmare. It takes a while here. Look at this, James Espanto Fernando. Oh, you don't know about this one. James Espanto has supported the streams for a very, very long time, and he has quite the name that I love to say so quickly. James Espanto Fernando. Got to do it that way. Thank you so much, James. Got to get in there. Nice. Now, here's a good question from James. James is a pro watcher, pro podcast watcher. He's been with me since the WrestleZone days. He goes, James goes, CM Punk versus McIntyre at Bad Blood. I think that's where it's at. Yeah. And that's September, right? So it's gonna be Hell in a Cell. Is it October 5th? Bad Blood? I believe so. But can you stretch it out that long? Can you make it last that long? Can you make it last that long? I know that's like CM Punk can get cleared medically to compete by then. He could keep screwing over Drew McIntyre. I mean, Drew could keep getting matches, and CM Punk could keep coming out and being like, "Hey." Guys keep telling me, have been telling me I'm crazy, but do you agree with me? The match needs to be inside Hell in a Cell, CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre. Oh, well, I think maybe you could do the blow off match there. If Punk is healthy enough to do more than one match and be able to go, then build to it, Yeah. And I mean, you need to have a match at one point. So it's certainly interesting here. I did see let's it was rumored though that Seth Rollins could potentially be a guest referee in a CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre match at SummerSlam. So maybe Seth way to get Seth in the show. Yeah, way to get him in the show. Seth could screw things up for the other one, whatever, and then they're like, that wasn't how I wanted things to end. We're gonna meet at Bad Blood in Hell in a Cell. hell in a cell.
Yeah. Where nobody can come in and interfere.
Also, in other stupid real life news, Hulk Hogan appeared at the Republican National Convention last week, since we last went live, and ripped off his shirt to reveal a Trump 2024 T-shirt. And of course, we all know, because Hulkster got into the race and supported Trump, that has forced active sitting U.S. President Joe Biden to not seek re-election, because he obviously fears the power of Hulkamania.
He was intimidated.
And that we all know that. We know it is the most powerful force in the universe. So I don't know if you guys know this. Hulkster's a little bit of a kingmaker now.
Yeah. Hey, you had his new beer. How's his new beer? I've been curious.
I did send you a picture of this on the 4th of July. I did have Hulk Hogan's Real American Beer. Tastes like a light beer.
Okay.
There's no like hoppy notes to it or anything. It is a light mow the lawn beer.
But is it better than like
and I don't mean that disparagingly.
Is it above the level of like a Hams?
It is. It is Hams-esque.
Hams-esque. Okay.
And I love myself a low tier domestic beer. I'm talking a PBR. I'm talking an old style. You ever have an old style?
Old style light.
And all you want to do, you get yourself a real cheap beer here. This is a real degenerate thing to do. How do you make a cheap beer feel like a better beer? Put a piece of fruit in it.
Yes.
Everyone thinks you put fruit in just a Corona and that's it. No, there is no laws saying you can't put a chunk of lime in a PBR. I do it. Call it pearls on a pig. All right.
I like it.
But then also I'm the guy who says you don't put fruit on pizza. So who am I? I break all the rules.
Hey,
of course, somebody with a Trump 2024 avatar is telling me Hulk Hogan, fantastic guy. All right. Well, I just think that's a ridiculous real life thing. Wrestling's fake, but everything else is here. People saying a beer and a spear, a chug of beer, and then someone takes a spear. But then I get thrown out of the bar. Hopefully, I finish the beer. So that's the case. But thank you guys. Go play BrainBuster right now at Sportskeeda.com. Great game. I'm quite busy. Quite busy. Going to be at Red Hot Chili Peppers on Saturday. Going to see them. I'm going to be at Demon Hour Comedy this Friday at Lincoln Lodge at 7 p.m. in Chicago. You can follow me on my socials for that good stuff. And I'll be quite busy with everything going on here at Sportskeeda.com. Roast Battle Chicago. Got to talk about this. We just dropped a brand new special on our YouTube channel that features a 3-round championship battle that has been dubbed the single roast battle of the year by the Roast Battle League, we think. So go watch that. That is up now for free, completely uncensored, very R-rated, so don't have the kids around, but you can fire it up on the TV. Let me know what you think. That is Roast Battle Chicago, filmed at Zany's Comedy Club in Chicago. Go watch that. That's up now. What you up to, Nick?
I'm still DJing and over there at Yolo County for the High Wheelers for their professional baseball team in the Premier League. I'll be there.
What would my walkout song be?
For you, you have to pick. They pick their own. I just play it. That's so.
Do the players get really mad if someone else picks the song they want? Does that?
Oh yeah, they want to walk up. They want to have their moment. That's their time to shine. They get to walk up to their entrance song. It's kind of it's like a WWE thing. They're making their walk out, and everybody's like, yeah, okay, this is them. So no, they get to choose their own. So I would let you choose your own. I wouldn't force anything on you there. But I got a real quick shout out, James. He said a beer and a pickle spear. That's what he means. I love it. I go with that. I do that.
I haven't done that.
It's good. You should try.
You put the spear in the beer.
You put the spear in the beer. Or you can have it. Or you can
call that the Goldberg right there. That's
the Goldberg, baby. I like that. So either that, or you can have. Some people have the sweet pickles and they put them like a kebab style. They have them on the top of them. You just eat it with it. But there's a bunch of ways to go with it. But anyways, you can find me on the socials on X and Instagram at Nick_Harksen. That's NICK_HARKSEN. Or come see me in Davis, California at a YOLO High Wheelers game.
There you go, guys. Share the link to this podcast wherever you guys are watching or listening to it. If you're on the podcast side of things, go give us a 5-star review. Let us know what you think of that. A lot of good content coming out from Sportskeeda. We have a fresh interview up with Hulk Hogan, by the way, and Mark Henry over on the Wrestle Binge channel. Go check those out. Remember, when watching wrestling, please do the most important thing, which is what, Nicholas?
Enjoy wrestling.
That's right. brother.